Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Big Blue Offensive Podcast with Mike Trainer, Jay Jules, and John Depot. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Big Blue Offensive Podcast. I'm Mike. That is Jules. John is kind of here, but he's not here, but he'll be here in a few minutes. He's on his way home, back on the BBO NYG podcast. But Jules is on location. He's filming in Florida right now. He's drinking an IPA. Jules, man, what is going on out there, man? Fucking Florida, man. You're lucky, man. It's like 10 degrees here.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm sitting outside with a T-shirt on, and yes, that is a real live background. That's not some sort of generated thing with a green screen. All right, that's a swimming pool that's lit up for the nighttime. Would I go swimming right now? No, it's not that warm, but it's definitely warm enough to be sitting out here in a T-shirt and shorts and drinking one of my favorite down south beers, which is the Terrapin Hopsecutionator. One of my favorite IPAs out of Terrapin. They're a brewery out of Maryland. You don't see too many of these up north. They weren't really able to distribute to like Pennsylvania and New York for a lot of time. I think like just over the last couple of years, they were able to start distributing up north. So anytime I'm down here, I always grab one of these bad boys.
Do me a favor, just don't get eaten by an alligator. Or actually, it actually gave us like a good amount of views if you do get eaten by an alligator down like in Florida right now, man. It'd be fucking awesome to post that. Jules fighting an alligator and shit in fucking Florida. But listen, before we get into this crazy fucking NFL weekend, which was phenomenal. I just want to give a shout out to like the countries that have been listening to this podcast. Besides the United States, obviously, United Kingdom, India, Israel, Canada, Germany, and Bulgaria. So whoever's listening to the show, thank you, man, from all over the world. And you listen, if you guys want T-shirts, man, hit me up, DM us, and I'll make sure I get you those T-shirts. We got a few left. But yeah, Jules, this weekend was so insane. I drank a crazy amount of alcohol. And so Saturday I survived, but Sunday at halftime of the Chiefs game, I'm like, let me just put my head down for fucking 5 minutes.
What happened?
No, big fucking mistake, right? All of a sudden, I woke up in I had my Mahomes jersey on, right? So I love fucking Patrick Mahomes. I fucking woke up like 1 o'clock in the morning, right? I text you right away. I'm like, what the fuck? When I had to go check the score, and I seen the Chiefs won. So I'm like, well, now I'm up. So I went back on NFL Network. I watched the fucking rest of the game that night. Yo, what an incredible fucking game, man. Holy shit. Thank God I wasn't there, man, because I would have bet Buffalo live wager and I would have lost because it was out of control, man. What a weekend.
Dude, you know what? It's funny you mentioned that live wager bet because had I not been in a bar, and by the way, even though sports betting is now legal in New York, it is not in Florida. So I literally had to give all my login credentials to my brother, and he was placing bets. So you know what that's like, trying to set up a bet through someone else. And we tried on Saturday when things were a little calmer because it was raining down here, like during that Green Bay Packers game. Yep. At that one point, I could just see right before the point even got blocked, I could see the tide turning, and I started having them look up. I was like, what is it what's for San Fran to win? Let me just see what San Fran is to win. Let me see what San Fran is to win. And like by the time he got it back, they blocked the punt, and he's still sending me texts from like before the punt was blocked. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, no, it can't be. If they're plus 300, I'm like, pull me down for 1,000 on it right now. 3. So prior to that punt being blocked, literally, I would say that maybe second down of that series, they were still plus 300 at that point in time. So I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? Let me just put $50 on it. You know what I mean? Something small, right? Whatever. I'll take it down that way. And literally, of course, it gets blocked. It goes in the end zone. I'm getting a 3-1 fucking text. I'm like, if that's the case, put me down for whatever's left in the account. And, by the time he goes to do it, they were already negative at that point. And then it went off the board. And then it was just done. I was like, you got to be kidding me, dude. But yeah, man, listen, with the exception of that Cincinnati game, because that was, listen, I kind of said this last week. I said, looking at all these games, I was like, I guarantee you that it's going to be a much better football game weekend. There's no doubt in my mind, and you're like, Friday night I got down to Florida, so I went out, you get a little crazy on the first night out, and there's all these outdoor bars and nice little views. So, I got a little wasted. And Saturday I was like, no, I'm just going to stay in the house, use the grill and drink beers from the house and watch these games. So I was like really in on Saturday. And then Sunday, just because I knew, and I was like, I didn't get really any kind of rah-rah excitement. I'm down here with that. And it gets into the games, but when I can't start yelling and screaming at the TV.
Yeah,
I was like, that Bills Chiefs game, I just had this gut feeling. And I know I was telling everybody, I was like, I gotta go out for this. So I go online and I look up Bills backers bars because I'm like, fuck it. If I'm gonna go, right? I want to get in this. I want to have experience. I don't want to be in there with a bunch of Dolphin fans that are gonna be hating on both those teams. That's gonna be whack. So I was like, all right. I find them. Now you would think, right? Out of all the states, like they have all these Bill backer bars, bro, by far, Florida was the largest one. By far. I think California was like second and Texas was like third, and then like New York was like fourth or some shit.
Because everybody moves down there.
It was literally like I was going down the list and I'm like, yo, this shit don't stop. I'm like, yo, when are we gonna get to the bottom of the list? Because like I'm like going down to like West Palm, so I need to get to like W in alphabetical order, and it's like literally going to all these cities.
Wow.
So I finally found one that literally was only like 3 miles away, so it was fantastic. Wow. It was like $8 Uber, couldn't beat it. I was smart. I got there a little early, but I almost got there a little too early. And at that time, the Rams-Bucks game was boring. So I'm sitting there and you're hearing all these Bucks fans like trying to rally them and come back. And I'm like, this game sucks. And then all of a sudden, leave it be. Somehow the football gods put it in the way. They let Tom Brady go tie the game. And I'm like, here we go. So I'm like, and I got a front and center at the bar, great seat. And, and then we all know what happened with Cooper Kupp, which is just insane. How you leave that man open like that. The only thing you could get beat is over. You put it. I mean, listen, I'm all for blitzing, but you put it all out blitz when the game is tied. Like, what are you doing?
What are you doing is right.
So I was like, all right, whatever. And then literally, I had thought maybe I got in there too early, or this place wouldn't fill out. And within the next like 20 minutes, there was a line out the door, people trying to get in. But it was good though. It wasn't overly packed. They literally took up like one whole dining section, and then there was like seats behind and then seats at the bar. So that was cool. You didn't feel like overcrowded or anything like that. So that was a great way to enjoy it. Look, 14-14 at halftime. And then that second half of football was absolutely insane, bro. Like I'm sitting there and I'm like, you going back and forth. And thank God I didn't have the live betting because man, I would have been firing shit in all night. And like I sit there and here comes Josh Allen, comes down the field. He scored that touchdown. There's like a little over 2 minutes left in the game. I'm like, holy shit. I was like, yo, Bills might pull this out. The whole bar, the energy's like on the fucking thing and going nuts. I literally was talking to one of our friends, Joey, via texting. And I said, yo, bro, I was like, I need to do a shot. It was like right in the third quarter, like to turn this around. And I remember I had gotten a koozie when I went up there. That was a Bills koozie, but it was like for the screwball peanut butter vodka, whiskey rather. I kid you not, I did a shot of that. They go down the field and score. And I'm like, holy shit. And that's when the whole thing happened. And the one series that they did not score in that second half from the mid third quarter on was the one series I didn't do a shot for. I just say.
I don't think your drinking impacts the plays.
I'm telling you right now, if I had come up with something for the defense, they might have won because I'm telling you, listen, the first touchdown they scored was only a little over 2 minutes left. And they were up 4 or whatever it was, however the points were at that point. I'm like, all right, they got to keep Pat out of the end zone. He comes down the field, scores a touchdown, and now the Bills are back down 4 again, right? Yep. I was sitting there, I'm like, yo, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And then Josh Allen comes all the way back down the field again. This dude scores a touchdown with like 15 seconds left in the game. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, all right, they're only up 1. And in this crazy mind of mine, I'm like, yo, they could still end up losing this game because whatever, some crazy shit could happen. I was like, but if they get this 2-point conversion, that's like the icing on the cake. Right. It's like, you can't even beat me with a field goal, right? And he walked in the end zone with that 2-point. I was like, oh my God. I was like, the Bills are going to win this game. And then a fair catch, a bullshit screen to Tyreek Hill. All of a sudden they're at the 40. And then out of all the fucking guys you don't cover over the middle, you don't cover fucking Travis Kelce? What are you doing, Leslie?
Right down the seam. Right down the seam.
Dude, that's why Frazier will not be the head coach of the Giants, all right? Because he coached like shit, dude. Mm-hmm. Like, yo, that interview, Mara Tish will watch it. They were probably just like, yeah, no, that guy off the list. But you want to look at the other side of that one, and you want to look at Brian Dable, who I've been talking about for the last 2 weeks now as being one of the main guys. Set aside what he's done as turning Josh Allen into one of the best players in the NFL, hands down. Don't give a shit what you say. If you had any doubts, Sunday should definitely have made you feel differently, okay? Yeah. You want to say Pat Mahomes is a little bit better? Maybe. I don't even know if that's the case anymore. They're fucking right next to each other right now.
He's got a better team.
He might. I think he does. I think he definitely does have a better team. I mean, what do you say? Travis Kelce or Dawson Knox? Like, come on, it's not even fair.
Yeah, come on.
You know what? Tyreek Hill or Stephon Diggs? I would argue Diggs, but now you can't. Yo, Diggs was nowhere to be found last week.
No, he wasn't. He was gone, disappeared. Tyreek Hill's a fucking man.
You know, so you know what? You're right. And then you look at their running back situations. I think Singletary has been better, but the fact is that Brian Dable was still able to put up 35 points with Diggs catching 3 passes for like 6 yards or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Like that. Okay, Dawson Knox, I think, had like 2 for like 12. Singletary rushed for under 30 yards. Yes, he had like another 25 receiving, but big deal. And then you let a 4th-round pick in Gabriel Davis. 4th-round pick, by the way, guys. All right, so when you talk about Shaw and that he's come from this team, he drafted Gabriel Davis in the 4th round, and that dude set a playoff record with 205 yards and 4 touchdowns. So, like, bro, who gets the credit for that? All right, like, obviously, it's got to be coming from Dable. I mean, like, his resume speaks for itself. He won a national title before going to Buffalo, turned Josh Allen's career around. Dude, like, to me, we're definitely going to talk more about head coaching candidacies and everything else, but by far, that is my number one dude, and I think I built half of the case for it just on that alone.
I guess so. I mean, the debate was going on between, like, can he turn Jones around? And a lot of people are saying, oh, Jones is not Josh Allen. I'm like, I think everybody gets that, but people forget, like, Josh Allen sucked for 2 years. Like, he sucked. There was some dumbass Bills fans that wanted Josh Allen out of Buffalo. The same dumbass fans that we got in Giant Stadium that say we want Daniel Jones out of here. How do we know? We don't even know exactly the upside of Daniel Jones yet, So we gotta, like, a lot of these Giant fans gotta fucking slow their roll and shit. And we'll get there. I mean, it all depends on actually who we hire. I think it's gonna be Brian. I think he's gonna get the job, no doubt. That connection with Shane is just like undeniable. I think they're just going through the motions until they give him the job. You know what I mean? So he'll get that job, no doubt. And I think we all should hope like they turn Daniel Jones around, and the whole fan base should just fucking root for him, because that game was just, man, that was phenomenal, man. His arm, I mean, it was ridiculous. He was on point, on fire. He was running, scrambling for first downs.
4th and 13 with the game on the line. He runs for a 25-yard game.
Are you kidding? Like, yeah, I'm like,
that is cool, bro. Like, come on.
I couldn't believe it, man. If it wasn't for Buffalo's just shit, like, defense, like, had he not even squib kick the end and give him a chance, and you just kick it in the end zone, start at 25? Why do you give him the start at 25-yard line in that situation? Squib that shit. But listen, I'm not a fucking NFL coach. We just don't know any better. But yeah,
what do we know, right?
We don't. We probably don't know.
I'll tell you who thinks they know something about the NFL all the time and always has to throw their fucking 2 cents in. That Kim Jones, right? What is she with the NFL Network, I guess, now?
Oh, yeah.
That woman drives me insane. And, like, I know how everybody that's done Twitter or has been with Twitter, and I know you've had this happen. I have tried so hard to get her to block me. And I just want, like, just that credential so I can just put it up. And that might even be, like, my picture on
it might be,
for a little bit.
That's
but I can't get it to, because, of course, see, I had another dumb comment where it was like, basically, and of course I'm paraphrasing, but it was right along those lines where it's just like, well, don't think by hiring, Dable to be the Giants coach that he's automatically going to just change him into Daniel Jones into Josh Allen. And I was like, yo, idiot, nobody cares about that.
Right.
If you can make them better and the Giants just start winning football games, that's all I want. If you can take our offense from being 32nd to like maybe 16th, oh my God.
But she don't know shit though. Like, that's the whole point. Like, nobody knows fucking what he's capable of, because he's been caught behind this fucking shit line, man. We don't know what we have right now. I mean, sure, his rookie year, he looked fucking pretty good when he's throwing 5 touchdowns and like fucking no interceptions. People quickly forget about that. Like, let's give the fucking man some time. But man, like, I tell you what though, like, after this weekend's games, I don't think we're gonna have like that kind of like games going forward. I think that was the Super Bowl. I think Kansas City and Buffalo, because that game was just tremendous. 2 great teams. I wish that was the Super Bowl, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? If there was a way that could have been, it would have been fucking awesome for that game to be the Super Bowl, man. Maybe get rid of the NFC, AFC, but that's a whole another topic of situation. But before we get into the other games, like real quick to go over, Jules, I want to get your opinion on, like, what do you think about the overtime rules? I know everybody was like an uproar. I'll just give you my 2 cents about the overtime rules.
Yeah, sure.
I like how it is. Like, if if you're a team, like you got to stop the other team if you win the coin toss and you get, stop them, hold them to a field goal so you get your chance. Maybe they could go to the college rules where they go like, real quick and, get you, go for two after you score the first time around and so forth. I could get behind that a little bit, but I kind of like the rules now. And I don't like the fact that in the overtime, basically, like I kind of lost my train of thought. I was going somewhere with this, Jules. I kind of lost it for a sec. I don't know if it's a fucking beer hitting me,
you
but
sound like John right now, bro.
I know, I'm like shit, like John, like help me out, man. It was something. I'm telling you, I got it on the tip of my tongue, but I'll get there. In a minute. But
Well,
I just want
it's a reflection because you know what? I've actually given this a lot of thought, in all honesty, because I remembered as a kid growing up that it was sudden death. Dude, you kick a field goal, you gotta if you do it over, oh, that's game over. Like it don't matter. Like you get somebody can nail a 60-yard field goal and like hit a miracle shot, game over. That's it. You lost, right? So yeah, in that point in time, that was like the most crucial thing that ever could occur. Was any type of score in overtime. So the coin flip was that much more monumental. And now, yes, you think like, all right, you know what? A defense should be able to hold them out of the end zone from scoring a touchdown. I mean, these teams can hold you up all the time. And then all of a sudden, at certain points in time, it's like the defense forgets how to play and they just can't do anything anymore. But I do think, and honest to God, I don't think I've heard this anywhere. And maybe I'm not trying to say that I'm the one that created this. I'm pretty sure that someone else has had this idea, right? I think what they should do is, and I'm just, again, this is what I really believe is just my opinion, something I put together over the last few days after hearing and reading all about this, is that why not you make it so that you have to go for two after every touchdown in overtime. You have to. Yeah. So now look at this. Kansas City scores that touchdown. Instead of them just scoring a touchdown and they win, they got to go for two for the win. Right. So now that defense has got to not only give up a touchdown, but they got to give up a 2-point conversion. If you give up a touchdown and a 2-point conversion back to back like that, you deserve to lose that game. Okay.
Do you automatically win, or do you get a chance to go down the field?
And if they get the 2-point conversion, the other team it's over. If they don't get the 2-point conversion, then the other team gets a chance to go down the field, and they have to convert the 2-point. If they don't convert the 2-point, then it goes to another overtime.
That's not a bad.
No more time, no more nothing.
That's not a.
Goes to another overtime.
That's not a bad idea. Like, you know what I was going back for? I kind of remember now. I don't want to see like the overtime go for like 15 minutes and end at a tie, and they have to play more because you're talking about guys, playing this week, possibly getting injured, playing a crazy amount of time, and then and if you win, you have to go to next week and play off like kind of like, like banged up in a way. So I kind of don't want to see that. So maybe like in a way, like go for the 2-point conversion. And I see your point with that. Maybe they could do something with that in the
future. What? Then now look, say Kansas City doesn't make it, Buffalo gets the ball back. Well, now Buffalo's got to score and get the 2-point conversion to win that game. You know what I mean? Like it puts a little bit extra on there because look, at that point in time, you don't feel deflated. And now the defense can come out and say, look, we just got to get this stop. We get this stop. We got our offensive shot. You know what I mean? And now it's like all for the gusto on this one play. It just adds like it actually adds even more suspense and drama to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Like, yo, think about that. Like imagine Kansas City after all that night having to line up and go for two.
That'd be pretty cool. Like I would rather see that than to see like the college rules where you start on like the 30-yard line or whatever it is.
That's too much.
That's kind of weak. You kind of want to see it like, I don't know, but
yeah, I mean, with that, if the NFL ever did something remotely close to that, they would have to take out the field goal option, and it would just all of a sudden the scores would be, it would instantly be an over because they would probably end up scoring like 3 or 4 times each before like someone actually won. You know what I mean? Like it'd be ridiculous. But I just think that because you have this 2-point conversion, and you've seen it a lot more lately in the NFL today. Where it's used a lot more. Teams go for it. I mean, heck, we saw it a few times over the weekend. You know what I mean? So
Tennessee, they cost them the game.
Exactly. So you see it used a lot more in this day in the NFL. So why not incorporate it into something like that? Where literally, I mean, think about it. You even like probably the way the momentum was going and the way that defense was playing. Kansas City probably still makes the 2 points. You know what I mean? I know, but at the very least, there's that like last glimmer of hope where you're like, all right, if we just stop or we get Josh the ball, we just got a 2-point conversion. We'll get a second one and you go after it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. To me, I think that would kind of ease things for a little while. Because then it's like, because think about it. I mean, like if you're literally sitting there as like a Josh Allen, right? You just saw your defense give up that touchdown. You sit there and be like, yo, you gave up a touchdown and a 2-point conversion? What the fuck, man?
I know, man. I know.
Come on.
It changes the game. Like even like getting back to like the Cincinnati Tennessee game, like Tennessee, like it was a dumb penalty on Cincinnati. They had 12 men on the field, and Tennessee like decided like, all right, we're just gonna go for 2. I'm like, why are you doing that? There's no fucking reason to do that. And sure enough, like it hurt them because at the end of the game, they could have been up, by like a point or whatever. And it changed the whole fucking dynamic of the game with fucking Bengals have to tie the game up with a field goal, regardless, whatever the circumstances happen. But you take the fucking points and you don't worry about that going for fucking 2 that early in the game. Fabro kind of fucking blew that game. Well, besides Vrabel, obviously Ryan Tannehill just completely fucked that game up. I don't know.
4 interceptions, I think.
Dude, I don't know what he was doing, man. I people were like bitching about like the play calling because they were running the ball down their throat, but you got to eventually throw the ball anyway. Tannehill, like, listen, if the guy's not open on a screen pass, do what Eli used to do. Throw it to the fucking ground and go to the next play. My man's just like, hey, fuck it. Like, here, fucking take it. Like, what are you doing, man? What are you fucking doing? But I mean, they blew it, and now Cincinnati's on to fucking face Kansas City, which is going to be, I tell you, man, Cincinnati beat them by like a field goal, 34-31 earlier in the year in Cincinnati.
Wasn't that much earlier in the year, and I'm not
like
mistaken,
4 weeks ago, right? January 5th, right?
I think it was in Cincinnati. If you're not, now you're mentioning it again, I thought for a moment it might have been in Kansas City, but now I do believe it was in Cincinnati. And literally that the sequence of events that unfolded for them to actually have to get they ended up basically with like 6 or 7 plays from the 3-yard line to actually get in to score a touchdown and end up beating Kansas City.
Right.
And it was literally that. And then Burrow had gotten hurt and missed the following week and all that kind of shit. So like it was, I watched it. It was like one of those ones where it got like bonus coverage on one of the local channels. So like, everybody just kind of focused in on it.
I think Jamar Chase had like 800 yards.
He was like, like 265 yards. It was fucking ridiculous, dude.
I don't think that's happened again. Like, I think they kind of key on him. But I tell you, Kansas City, but Kansas City's defense, very, very suspect. So I could see them scoring. I could see the over in this game coming, and I could see
Kansas City 55 already.
I can see Kansas City. I can see a game going over. I can see Kansas City winning, but not by 7. I think it's gonna be like 4 or 5. Yeah. So I like the money line Kansas City, but I like the points with the Bengals. So
I'll tell you, and we're gonna get into that like our pick'em segment, when we do that portion later in the show. But you're right. I mean, look, you know what? Kansas City emotionally has to be somewhat drained. If you're Cincinnati, you're going into this game. First of all, they hate the fact that they're this underdog, right? Even Joe Burrow had to finally say, he's like, yo, we're a good team. Like, what are we gonna get some respect? We went in, we knocked off the number 1 seed, we beat the Raiders. He's like, yo, what the hell else do we have to do? You got to beat Kansas City. How about that? But even with that said, if they could and they had that kind of offense, Joe Mixon's been running great. He's healthy. I understand that offensive line is suspect, so that's going to be an issue. That is going to be a thing. But if they could somehow just come and sort of just punch Kansas City in the face and drop like a 14-3 lead on them, where they score a touchdown, Kansas City comes back, kicks a field goal, they score another touchdown, and they were up 14-3. Yes, Mahomes comes back. We know he's like the comeback kid. We get it. But they could put them in a position where they had that kind of offense and they could still have the firepower to go at it with Kansas City. So I think that's going to be a pretty good sleeper type game on Sunday to watch. But of course, we'll make our predictions a little later on.
Yeah, cool. And a quick thing about the Rams game and Bucks. Rams had them all day. Stafford looked good, but the 4 fumbles just completely let Tom Brady back in the game. I almost felt like the NFL wanted Tom Brady to win. But I'm glad the Rams won. I was rooting for them, obviously. I had them in my parlay. But Jules, do you have any comment about that game, or are we just moving on?
I honestly thought it was exactly like you just said, man. I thought the NFL was setting up some nonsense to let Brady in this shit. I know a lot of people said that about the Kansas City Buffalo game where they were doing whatever they could to get Mahomes. But the only thing I can say back, I was like 14 seconds. There is no way you could script it and still have the confidence that in 14 seconds they're going to go down the field and tie it. It's impossible.
It's amazing. That's
so take that shit off the board. But yeah, the Brady one felt a little weird. Although I do feel bad for Akers. because he had such a tremendous comeback in this playoff so far.
Yeah.
And he cough off the ball a couple of times like he did on that game. That was hard. That was heartfelt.
The one fumble, like at the end of the first half, it could have put him up by like 80 points. And the game would have been over. There would have been nothing going on in the second half, but he kind of let him back in the game. And then obviously the first game, I mean, the second game of the Saturday night game was, Aaron Rodgers just fucking losing against San Fran. I mean, we talked about it a little bit with like the block punt and San Fran's just defense has been incredible. I mean, it didn't Garoppolo didn't do anything to help his team actually win. He almost fucking blew the fucking game. But that defense and that special team by San Fran, man, that's something scary, man. Rams are going to be up for fucking something next week.
Listen, I'll tell you, that game was interesting because Rodgers gets that ball, goes right down the field, touchdown, 7-0. And that's they shut him down. San Fran goes 3-and-out. They shut him down. No, it wasn't even that. They were driving again. Green Bay was on the move. I was like, holy shit, this is gonna be a blowout. And then you had that little like flat pass to Mercedes Lewis, and he like fucking coughs up the ball so bad.
Yeah.
And as soon as that happened, it was like the fucking Green Bay offense couldn't do anything anymore. It was like over. It was a wrap. They almost fumbled the ball right back to them on the next play. And then there was all that concept. Then they went 3-and-out. Then Green Bay got the ball. They go 3-and-out. And then all of a sudden, it was just like the 49ers were in Green Bay's huddle.
And Devontae Adams, Devontae Adams was like a no-show because they were pretty much double teaming him and took him right out of the game. And they were trying to rely on like other guys to step up, like Lassard. And I mean, it was tough, man. It was really tough on Rodgers, man. That defense is out of control.
Well, Adams still did have 9 for 90, all right? Because that guy's just a beast, all right? So 9 for 90.
I know, it seemed like a lot of like,
right? Just to throw that out there real fast.
A lot of fucking a lot of short passes, slants, bullshit.
I should have known immediately that something was up because about 40 minutes or so before kickoff, I was trying to get a first score TD, and I'll bring my brother on to verify this. And I was like, yo, what's AJ Dillon? And he's like, yo, for some reason, AJ Dillon's locked. So fuck you, Caesar Sports Bet.
Oh,
right?
Right.
Yeah, they locked AJ Dillon for some odd reason, but everybody else, but not AJ Dillon. Oh yeah, I wonder why, motherfuckers. Yeah. And then he scores the first touchdown. Yeah, okay.
I love you, Caesar's app. By the way, I made a lot of fucking money this weekend.
Yeah, I know you did.
Thank God. But
you better be thanking Pat Mahomes. You better go out and buy 2 jerseys of Pat Mahomes. Hey, that motherfucker.
That's why I won a lot of money like 2 years ago in the Super Bowl game. That's why I bought a Mahomes fucking jersey. But anyway, I think we're done with the wrap of the games for this past weekend. We're gonna take a quick commercial break and John's coming back on the John Depot's back on the BBO NYG podcast. So we'll be right back.
And it gives me a chance to grab a beer.
All right. We are back on the BBO NYG podcast. I'm Mike. That is Jules. John is joining us. He was listening, driving in the car. He was fucking driving back probably from the Rams game because he's a big OBJ fan. He was probably driving back from LA, seeing the game. So now, John,
he was in Tampa, bro. He was in Florida.
we recapped the games on this past weekend, but now we got to go into some giant topics, man. We got to, Jules, like what topics?
One I want to bring up, which is still sort of related to currently what's going to go on for this week, right? Is that and again, this is an if, right? If Patrick Mahomes has the ability to at least get to the Super Bowl, then this record is probably going to be broken. He may break it this weekend, but he needs 438 yards to pass Eli Manning for the most passing yards in a single postseason, which was at 12-19, and he is 438 short of that. Eli did it in 4 games back in 2011 on that run, believe it or not. Eli's arm carried us through that 2011 postseason, because he put up the most postseason yards out of any quarterback ever.
Yeah, I remember that.
They extended it. We were wild card. I get all those things. But hey, it's still a New York Giant record until Pat Mahomes has a shot at it with 438. So let's go Bengals.
Now, Jules, I have a question about that. Eli has the most yards in a postseason.
A single
2011.
Single.
Yeah, the 2011 postseason. Yeah. Yep. Or 12, I guess you could say. But that year, he also had the highest combined yards in the regular season and postseason.
And I think his completion percentage was like up there as well. Like it was one of the best completion percentages in the playoff run as well.
I don't remember that specifically, but I do know that it was not just the playoffs; it was both the season and the playoffs as well. Is that threatened also? Is
No,
Mahomes
it's
gonna break?
it's the postseason record that I know is definitely
Okay.
confirmed. That's
Yeah,
the
I don't
one
think
that
his season is.
Mahomes needs 438 to pass it.
Let's
Well,
root
there
for
he is
him
in a
to
lot.
win, but not have a lot of yards. Run
Yeah,
the
but then he
fucking
still
ball,
got the
Kansas
Super
City.
Bowl, bro. Like you mean to tell me he's not going to throw 438 yards over the championship game and the
I
Super
know
Bowl?
he's done.
Yeah,
Eli's
no,
done.
he's 209 each game.
The
That's
only
it.
shot we got is the Bengals to win. That's it. That record's hold strong, baby.
That ain't-
Go with Eli.
That ain't happening, man. That ain't happening.
Every time
guess
Joe Burrow throws the
Jules-
ball on Sunday, I'm like, do it for Eli.
Yeah, you just gave me a reason to root for the Bengals this week.
And you guys, this is where we tie everything into the Giants, and I was hoping that that'd be a great way to kick it off because now most Giants fans, especially all those Eli lovers, you got something to root for, man. Root for the Bengals. All right. I mean, listen, my luck, just because I said that, he'll throw for 439 and Joe Burrow will beat him. And I doubt that. If Mahomes goes for 439, I'm pretty sure Kansas City wins the game, right?
Shit. But
Yeah,
all right.
that's
really
that
not,
topic.
man.
That was just something I thought we would definitely bring up. You know, a couple other things, I guess, to get to, sure. Oh, and then I know how everybody is sort of rooting against Eli Apple, and they hope that he gets lit up this coming weekend, right? I mean, I know that was a big thing to do, right, Mike? Did you have a couple things on that?
Yeah, I don't. Like Eli Apple said, like he's like I think he tweeted like I don't know what is worse. Worse. The Saints fans or the Giant fans, right? Because he got some slack, being in both places and kind of sucking. But to be honest, like I kind of see his point because like just dealing with some of these fucking Giant fans like over like the years and being on social media and everything, like I get it because these bastards are fucking like hating on your own fucking players half the time. Like, can you fucking chill and root for your fucking guys? Like some of these people going after Barkley saying he sucks, all this and that. Like, I'm sick of hearing it. I mean, I'm like, you're supposed to be assholes to like opposing teams, not your fucking team. So I kind of get what Eli Apple says. And I'm not hating on Eli Apple for that. I understand. I get it because doing this podcast, like I've dealt with a lot of fucking asshole Giant fans coming my way. Root for your fucking squad, man. Stop being bitches. You know what I mean? Obviously, they're trying to fucking play hard, but I mean, they're not that talented. Jesus Christ.
And it only took the mama boy Eli Apple to really bring that out of you. I'm like,
I mean, yeah. I love Mrs.
I'm
Apple.
talking shit to the fucking fan base for him.
I bag
Don't
Mrs.
talk
Apple.
about something like that.
Did you see what Eli Apple wrote? He goes a couple of days ago. He goes, New Orleans is the dirtiest, smelliest city and has the worst food ever. And then he writes like the crying face emoji. He goes, it's that swine and crawfish that's killing your brain.
Yeah, he is funny.
So
He is fucking funny. I tell you
By
that.
the way, New Orleans does have actually some pretty good food. So I don't know where the hell he was eating. All right. I went down there a couple of times and like I have no complaints. All right. Like, is there a lot of fried food and shit? Like, can you gain 40 pounds over the weekend? Yeah, no doubt. But definitely some good eating down there. So I'll just shout that out.
Mad, bro. I mean, he's probably not too mad because now he's fucking in the AFC Championship game. And
well, that's what it is. Yeah.
but he's not a starting quarterback for them. Isn't he like a fortune quarterback?
I think he plays like nickel and that kind of
nickel,
shit,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
No.
So
But fuck.
First round of being a stud corner, you never came close to that one, my friend. Not even close. All right.
no.
Number 2, baby. Number 2.
Terrapin has this like chocolate fucking porter or something like that.
He was talking about it.
Yeah,
it's
dude,
so
they
good,
got some good beers, man. Like I said, it was only up until a couple of years back that you were able to even get that up north. So yeah, man, I'm a huge fan. Every time I come down south, that's one of my go-to spots. That, and then of course there are some really good breweries down here now. You definitely have a few. You have a few real local ones, and then you have a couple others that are a little more known, like Cigar City, things like that, which is in Tampa, but you can still get them around here. But yeah, man, that's something I come down for the beer all the time. That's for sure. You guys, getting into the whole head coaching positions and who we think is going to take over. Look, I know we joked about it a couple of weeks ago, but remember when we said that Sean Payton might actually step away? You heard it here first. I'm pretty sure we covered that in the podcast like 3 weeks ago. I was, you and I were discussing it. We were basically sitting there saying, I don't want to go out and say this guy's going to retire. I'm not going to go out and say that Sean Payton's going to head coach for the Giants. But lo and behold, right after this AFC divisional clash, I almost called it the championship game. The next day after that, and everything settles, and they say they're bringing in Brian Dable to interview for a second interview, and pretty much Leslie Frazier wrote his own ticket because he ain't coming to the Giants. You go out and you find out, and you see that Sean Payton has stepped away from football. We don't know what that even means. He's just stepping away technically from the Saints, which doesn't mean that he's not available or thinking of going elsewhere. We don't know. I mean, all of a sudden, to me, it's a long shot. It's a little out there. It's crazy, but that's a coach's name that now all of a sudden his hat's thrown into the ring. I mean, shit. Sean Payton coming to the Giants. Could you imagine? Woo! I mean, that would be special. That would be special.
Well, you got the bounty gate in New York.
Yeah, listen, dude. There's
Whatever works, though, right?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, if you look at all the candidates, right? With Quinn and Frazier, and of course, some of the other ones are going down the line. They're all defensive minded. The only real true one that we have on the list currently is Brian Dable out of Buffalo, right? And I made my case for him earlier. If you could have 3 of your top 4 options on offense taken out of the game, right? Stephon Diggs and Knox and fucking Singletary, and you still put up 35 points, and you took a 4th rounder, and you made that guy into a stud for that night where he showed up Tyreek Hill, where he showed up Stephon Diggs, bro. That offensive mind is working in the right direction, all right? That's absolutely showing you something, all right? Listen, if you took a look at this season's national championship game with Alabama, now granted, Dable's been gone for a couple of years, but the thing that was hurting the most was trying to find offense with guys that were missing on the field. As soon as they lost their big stud wide receiver earlier in that game, that offense couldn't do shit. You know what I mean? But yet, a couple of years back, when Dable was the offensive coordinator, they won a national title with ease. They put up points. I'm telling you, this guy's got an offensive mind, man, and it's his time. He's in his 40s. He's out of Western New York. Dude went to Rochester for college. I mean, bro, he went to Buffalo, made a name for himself in Buffalo, brought a fucking career together. I mean, that's a guy. Granted, it's not Brooklyn. It's not your boy, Mike. I get it. But dude, it's still a New York bred guy. Like this state is huge. Everybody's got to realize that there's a huge part of it to the west and a huge part of it to the north that doesn't exist in New York City and Westchester, right?
He's living in the fucking woods, man. Like, I mean, listen, I'd rather a guy like Flores, to be honest with you, because he has the experience. I know Dable, like, he's got this offense. He's got this great quarterback that he made good after Josh Allen been sucking for 2 years. So listen, I'll be on board with it, but obviously I'd rather Flores. I think I like him better, but I know I was reading a lot of people about the Sean Payton thing, oh, we got to get him. We got to trade a draft pick for Sean Payton. And like, why? I understand the connection because he's been our offensive coordinator, during the Super Bowl run of 2000 that we lost. I don't like the idea of trading a draft pick for Sean Payton now, or anything for that matter, because he kind of quit on the Saints. All right, the Saints, they got injuries, like with Michael Thomas, with their quarterback. So you just kind of quit on the Saints and just decide to retire because you don't want to fucking deal with that anymore. I don't really respect that, man. You signed the contract. You should play it out. And if you do want to move on to another team, then you make that happen. You don't fucking retire and be kind of a bitch. Like, I get it. Like, the Saints been kind of sucking, like, because of the injuries, So you're just going to quit on the fucking team? Fuck you, man. I don't want you here. Stay away from New York.
What if the Saints wanted to fire him, but they didn't want to, embarrass him, so they gave him the option, like, listen, we're going to fire you, but if you want, we'll give you the opportunity to retire and step away.
They would work on a release, John. They would work on some kind of monetary payment where they just release him from the contract so he could be free to do what he wants. I don't think that's the case. That, you know what I mean? So if somebody if somebody wanted him, then all right, you could do that and fucking be on your way. But yeah, I don't think that's the case, man. I think he's just frustrated by the way the team ended up, to be honest with you. And he's just like, fuck it, I'm not going to deal with this next year.
See, Mike, but then I got a couple questions for you then, right? Because if your main candidate is Flores and you've talked him up most of the time, and the main thing you've been saying is experience, right? Well, then 2 things right now. This is a 2-part here. Why not Dan Quinn? and I'll get back to that Dan Quinn in a second because that's experience, and that dude got a Super Bowl under his belt. All right, had it not been for Kyle Shanahan saying that we're not going to change our style and not running the football, which now he likes to do all the time in San Francisco, literally they probably win that Super Bowl. And Dan Quinn is still working in Atlanta. Anyhow, so you want to talk experience route, and then you talk about Sean Payton quitting and all this kind of shit. Well, Flores had 3 offensive coordinators in the 3 years he was there. 3, dude.
Right.
Set aside that maybe he didn't get along with his fucking coaching, with his GM, and that he really wanted Herbert over Tua. Granted, that was the right move so far.
Right. He was right.
But he had to go through 3 offensive coordinators. What the fuck? He can't work with one of them? He's got to go through 3 of them? Dude, like that. So that's, to me, Flores sounds like he's like a Sean Payton almost, because he seems like he's a diva and like that he has this craziness in his head.
Okay.
That he can only do what he wants to do.
Where are those offensive coordinators now though? Do they have fucking jobs? You know what I'm saying? So it's like maybe he was right about the quarterback. Maybe he was right about these fucking offensive coordinators that he probably didn't want to hire. He was probably getting fucking shoved down the throat by the GM. So the Dolphins are a very dysfunctional fucking organization. So like, I'm not knocking Flores about any of those situations.
And why not Dan Quinn?
Dan Quinn, I tell you, Dan Quinn, I tell you, man, he has that thing about me. Like, just I picture him in Atlanta, and I picture him just sucking. I picture him just losing the Super Bowl. So I'm like, no, I don't fucking want him here, man. Like, fucking get him out of here, man.
But you'll take a dude that barely has a winning record, and just because he had 2 back-to-back winning seasons, that's all I got.
Yeah. He's from New York.
You know
what I mean?
And he's from Brooklyn, right? So we told Alan
he wants the job bad. He wants the job fucking bad. That's what he's waiting on. I hope he gets it, man. I hope Brian Daboll just fucking, like, I don't know, goes back to Buffalo or decides to go somewhere else, man. That's what I'm hoping for.
Dude, I don't want Daboll going to Miami. I'll tell you that much. I don't know if he would. There is a lot of rivalry there. Does he really want to have to face Josh Allen? But I'll tell you, if I'm Miami and he doesn't sign with us in New York, I'm throwing everything I can at Daboll to get him. Because not only that, you have to face Josh Allen twice a year. This man helped create Josh Allen. If that doesn't give you a little step up on the defensive side of things, I don't know what will, right? So I don't know. I don't know if he does that, but man,
if he tries to develop Tua, like, I don't think it's gonna work. You know what I mean? Tua sucks. So you need some kind of talent. I'd rather him develop Daniel Jones than fucking Tua. I think Daniel Jones makes more sense, because if you look at Daniel Jones and Tua, Daniel Jones has more attributes than fucking Tua, hands down. Like, you can see it by watching him. Like, any idiot can fucking watch the fucking games and just see, like, Daniel Jones has more ability than Tua. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, but you ask the average NFL fan, I don't know if they're going to agree with you.
Probably not, because you're idiots.
Persona non grata in the NFL for some reason. It's
I
crazy,
guess in a long shot, he could end up in Chicago and try to revise Justin Fields, right? I mean, Fields would only be in his 2nd season. He'd get him early on. A lot of growing pains left, but not as many. You know, I don't know. Like, there are landing spots for Daboll to go to. I mean, if he really is this guy, right, that can go around and turn around quarterbacks, or even Denver, right, for that matter. Even though I know there's a lot more rumors tied to that area.
I'm curious to see if they go offensive, for whatever reason, like the offensive coordinator turned head coach that's playing calling plays on the sidelines always gets me a little bit nervous. I really would like to see them go like one of the defensive guys and then have like some stud OC come in here and like just take control of the offense. That way they can.
Yeah, but see that's a possibility. But then you really got to find that young guy. You got to find, the Kyle Shanahan from 10 years ago, or you got to find even McVay, right? McVay was an offense coordinator, if I'm not mistaken, out in LA. This is where the new NFL's gone, right? What's his name in Green Bay? Was another offensive coordinator. I can't think of his name right now. The head coach out there. LaFleur. I mean, those guys are all OCs now. I mean,
in Washington. Remember, and the Washington Redskins, like 2013, they were all on the staff. So people knocking the Giants. What about Washington? They let all these fucking 3 guys go. Like, you're a disaster. You're a terrible organization.
What Jay Gruden or some shit?
Yeah, Jay Gruden. They kept Jay Gruden, but let all those 3 guys fucking go. Coaching in the fucking playoffs right now. Fuck out of here.
Because of the championship game. Fucking let alone fucking, you know.
Fuck Washington.
We'll have an answer this week, though. I don't think that this coaching search is going into next week. I think probably by Thursday or Friday we're gonna have.
Well, yeah,
I think they have the interview scheduled. So I think there's 2 more interviews tomorrow and Thursday, and then I guess on Friday they'll fucking
probably. I mean, listen, knowing the Giants though sometimes too, and look, let's just put this out there for a quick second. You're right though, because the last interview is Thursday, and I think it's Brian Flores actually. Mike is the last one to interview for a second time on this coming Thursday.
Awesome.
And yeah, you might want to release it before the championship game, but you also might wait till after. And just think about this for a minute. When is the big announcement, right? That's supposed to be coming on 2/22, right? We're gonna find out what Washington wants to call themselves as a football team.
The Redcocks.
Could you imagine the Giants like release that
Redcocks.
shit on that day? They're like, all right, this is who we signed as our head coach. Dude, that would be fucking phenomenal.
Oh my God.
I don't wait for February 2nd
awesome
to
would
find
that
out
be
who our fucking
as
coach
an
is.
to you
Well, actually,
in Washington, all right?
Next Wednesday. No, it's fucking February already almost.
Almost, man. Almost. That's what I'm saying. So we have until next week for our podcast to think of some funny names and what we actually think that Washington's going to be called. I have a couple in my mind, but you know, and none that are explicit, right? You know, things that could be mentioned. You know, I think what if they change their names to like Virginia? You know, all that kind of nonsense. There's a lot of fun we can have with that. We can say that for next week. I'll give you guys a week to kind of think of some names.
All my names
That's a
are
very
explicit.
interesting idea. Change the location, like the team, like location, man.
Yeah.
Fuck that, man.
Just say, dude, how great would that be, right? They announced the head coach like in the morning, right? Because I don't know what time the announcement's supposed to be. But like they announced that shit, like, you know, in the morning, the Giants are like, oh, breaking news. They hire so-and-so as their new head coach. Oh, wait, Washington's team name. Yeah, who gives a shit? We got a press conference around 12 o'clock.
Wow. We'll see. We'll see what happens, man. Long as we don't go after a guy like Eric Bieniemy. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, I posted something on. Yeah, I kind of got people like a little riled up, like about my posts on social media on Twitter about Eric Bieniemy. Now, like guys, like Eric Bieniemy is the offensive coordinator for Kansas City. All right, everybody knows like Andy Reid's offense is just ridiculous, and you know, of course, Eric Bieniemy has his input, right? Obviously, everybody knows that, but he has a bad history. You know, it's like he has a history of like multiple assaults, one being choking a woman. Then he has like DUIs, fleeing the scene of an accident, sexual assault cover-ups. So like, I think Andy Reid, like he's lucky to have Andy Reid behind him to be able to have this job. Now people are calling for Eric Bieniemy to get a head coaching job. Now people are just looking at that because, all right, like they're looking at like the whole like color situation, right?
The Rooney rule.
The Rooney rule. Okay. Listen, let's just be real. Like if he didn't have that whole terrible history, and granted, it was like a lot of years ago, but do you want to make this guy the face of your franchise by giving him a head coaching opportunity? Like, can we just be real here? Like, I understand, like if he's talented, if he's got it, but you don't want to give this guy the face of the franchise and have all this backlash coming back to him and trying to be the leader of a locker room. You know,
leader of young men.
Yeah, like young men. You don't want to have that kind of like that input, like there, so to speak. You know what I mean? I just think it's a bad move for.
Bro, how is this guy not fucking in jail? Like I feel like
football. That's why football gets rid of everything. If you're a football guy growing up, John, you get rid of everything. Like all your problems go away if you're a football star.
And before Twitter and Facebook and all that shit, a lot of these got swept under the rug, unfortunately. And they were violations that would come back and bite you in the ass later on, years down the line, because he got in trouble for what he did. He served his time. He paid the penalty, but they were still infractions on his character. It is what he was, right? Like, you know, you hear all this time when people run for mayor and Senate and all this kind of nonsense. Shit comes out from when they were in high school. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so like this type of stuff stays with you. And I kind of agree with you there, Mike. Like, you're right. Like how you might get a little nervous making this guy the face of your franchise. Like this is the head guy. This is the one that is going to call the shots. Yes, maybe he's rehabilitated. Maybe he's paid his debt. Maybe he wants a second chance with everything, and he's cleared his way. Who knows?
Most
It's just
people
funny
do.
how Andy Reid also kind of has all this type of nonsense that he kind of sweeps under the rug. I mean, his son, oh my God, killing some. I mean, bro, they all get swept underneath the rug. You get all those nonsense circulating around Andy Reid. So maybe he knows how to sort of manage, this nonsense. And it's because he's under Andy Reid that he's, kept at bay and he doesn't go out of it, get in trouble or anything.
Yeah.
Who knows? I'm going a little out there, but that's the other side of things as well.
Are you just a criminal then? Like if you've committed such a wide range, like it's one thing to say, oh, he got arrested for DUIs, or happened once, it happened twice, or something like that. Like you say, okay, there was an issue he had in the past, but I mean, sexual assault, DUI, choking. I mean, you're fucking playing bingo with fucking crimes over here.
Can you imagine,
he's got
John?
to be the face of the New York football fucking Giants. Yeah,
exactly. That's what I was just gonna say, John. Can you imagine like Joe Shane having that kind of like background, or like whoever our future head coach having that kind of background? You know what the New York media would do to fucking dig up that fucking dirt on this fucking guy? You just don't want that headache as a part of an organization, so you don't make that move. Like, look what happened in like.
You can't have it over here, bro.
Look what happened to Jacksonville. Jacksonville hired Urban Meyer, right? Didn't he have some fucking bad shit going on previously? And look what happened. Less than a year later, my man's out of a fucking
job. You didn't even make
job.
it halfway through the season, dude.
Like, what do you want? And then these people going out, oh, we got to hire. Eric deserves his job. Like ESPN, he deserves his job. Like, well, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he has a job that he's suited for, that he has like friends behind him. Just leave the fucking guy alone. Let him be with that job. Like, don't make it be about like any situation more than exactly what it is.
And he's still a young guy. Like, he's still like, I think he's like 51, 52. Like, if he could just stay in this type of a thing for a few more seasons, show that he is that guy, Andy Reid gets to retire. Who's to say that he's not going to be his successor? I mean, isn't that the assistant head coach right there in Kansas City?
That's
right?
a good idea.
Could you imagine Andy Reid was another Super Bowl? You don't really have much to prove. Like, that dude's going to be having two-time Super Bowl champ coach. He's been in other Super Bowls. They literally have been dominating the AFC. This will be his fourth AFC championship game. Andy Reid might be looking to step down, and that might be the succession plan. People take that for granted. They forget that, oh my God, he's got to go here, he's got to go there. No, maybe he wants to stay in the organization. The Chiefs owner likes him. Andy Reid likes him. He's the next successor. He's the assistant head coach currently. Andy Reid might retire in 3-4 seasons. Who knows? He wants to walk into the sunset and Bieniemy steps in and he's got the job for the next 20 years, 15 years. People forget about things like that. That's how it used to be.
Yeah.
From his own perspective, like, I'm sure, like, if he is, want to use the word rehabilitated and he's not a fucking criminal anymore,
of course,
he's going to carry some type of like guilt with that, or embarrassment or shame or something, for just the array of different fucking things that he's done wrong. So him being in the Chiefs locker room anymore, like, the people around him in the organization, they've already built up a rapport where that's something that's like kind of behind everybody, so to speak, where if he walks into a new locker room somewhere, he's going to have to probably wear that for a little while, address that and kind of make good on his own fucking, like, what people are thinking about him, especially people who doubt him and stuff like that. I don't know. He probably feels just a lot more comfortable saying, you know what? I'm good where I fucking am. I don't have to explain myself to anybody over here. I am who I am. I'm Eric. I'm not the guy who fucking choked some bitch before. I'm fucking, I'm just Eric. That's it. So maybe that's another point of why he hasn't really kind of forced his way out somewhere to go somewhere.
Possible. Definitely. 100%, man. That's exactly what I'm thinking with that, people forget about that all the time. But on a lighter note, those of you that are listening live or listening, when we release this later tonight or early first thing tomorrow morning, just to keep in mind, our new GM, Joe Shane, will introduce himself in a press conference at 11:45. It'll be airing on various networks. So that is something for you to know. This tomorrow, Wednesday at 11:45, Joe Shane will be announcing himself, introducing himself. I think it's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on a lot of different streaming things. So you might be able to even listen to it in the car. I don't know. The fan will have their little 2 cents in there as well. So if you're driving or working, you could probably sneak it in there, but I just got to put that out there. So he'll be introducing himself to the Giants Nation this tomorrow at 11:45.
Sweet.
I can't wait to see how long it takes for fucking New York media and fans to turn on this guy. I wonder if he can make it to the draft.
Listen, I was mentioning some of the things, bro. He was part of that staff that drafted Matt Milano, who was a Pro Bowl linebacker. They took Matt Milano in the 4th round. Okay, they took the stud that went crazy, Gabriel Davis, that had four touchdowns and 205 yards in that divisional game. He's a 4th round pick. All right, these guys have been drafting some really good players in later rounds. There's a quote going out, basically that Dable had addressed this, the Bills locker room at a certain point in the season, where basically he just said, everyone stand up, and he's like, okay, if you, and of course I'm paraphrasing and I'll try to shorten it down a little bit, but basically he was just sort of like, if you've never been cut or you've never been traded, you stand up, still stand. If not, take a seat, right? And then he was like, if you were not taken in the 1st round, everybody have a seat. And literally the only 2 people left standing were Josh Allen and Trubisky. But Trubisky wasn't necessarily traded. He was sort of cut, and it wasn't cut, but he was a free agent, right? So then he mentioned about a free agent. And then I forgot how he said something about Josh Allen, but he made it so that Josh Allen then eventually sat down as well.
If you ever got scholarships, if you ever got any scholarships.
Oh, scholarships, correct. Yeah, and that's how he got. That's right. He actually ever got any scholarships, and Josh Allen had to now sit down, right? So he's like, and basically where the punchline there is that, listen, everybody has to remember where you came from in order to be able to move forward, right? And that's the message he delivered, which I thought was really good and powerful. And it's on Twitter. You can look it up. I'm sure it's all over the place on the internet and all that kind of shit. But the key thing there too was something I just wanted to bring up, which stood out to me too, was when he said, if you weren't cut or drafted in the 1st round, sit down. And only Josh Allen and Mitchell Trubisky were the only 2 people standing in that locker room. I mean, dude, and you're talking about a team that just took Kansas City to the wire and should have beat them, and Kansas City's probably going to go on and win a Super Bowl. And that's type of guys that we're bringing to this organization. I'm telling you, I got a great feeling the Giants are finally moving in that right direction. It doesn't feel like out of left field, where we had Joe Judge come in and, he talked a big game and he walked a big walk and everybody got impressed by it and he looked like he was this big time guy. And yet it turned out to be what it is. But these guys have a pedigree. They've been in the league for a number of years. They have resumes that show that they've won. They turned teams around and built offenses. They drafted players that didn't have to be in the 1st round. But even the ones they got in the 1st round was still great. I mean, Gregory Rousseau, he's been fucking playing phenomenal as a rookie for the Bills. And that was their 1st round pick this year towards the end of the 1st round. So this is the type of the mentality we're bringing in for these draft picks, that we have 5 in the top 80. It's time to start getting excited about this shit, Giants football. I'm just letting you know.
Can't wait, man.
Yeah, man. It's fucking new era.
I
can't wait for these new guys to vindicate Dave Gettleman now.
they'll eventually. I think they'll give him some fucking credit, but I think you want to take a quick commercial break and then get into these picks.
It's Championship Sunday,
and then just end this shit. All right, so we'll.
And I'm curious to see where we stand. I think I'm going to put in a ridiculous bet for this Sunday. I'm not leaving anything for the Super Bowl.
All right, well, we'll see. We'll be right back on the BBO NYG podcast. All right, we are back with the BBO NYG podcast. On Mike, that's Jules, that's John. Back with this week on the BBO NYG podcast. But guys, like we're in this other pick and pool. Well, not really pick and pool. We're in the BBO NYG podcast playoff pool. So we have a lot of shares. Everybody's involved. And guess who is number 1?
Let me guess, you are.
We are.
Yeah.
We are number 1. So we started off with 10,000. We started off with 10,000 shares, and we're the leader. We have 10,032 shares. So everybody fucking lost their shit. And,
all right, bro. Yo, we just been breaking even.
So we're doing pretty well right here. So like we're in first, Rob's in second at 94. Then you got Nancy at 83, King Glue at 76. So guys are gonna be betting pretty hard. So we got to pay attention this week, man. We got to bet smart. So
yeah, I love how my fiance is like part of this. And
there's only 2 games left this weekend to bet before the Super Bowl. So We got to play it
Basically,
smart.
you
So
only got 3 more games to bet.
that's it. So the first game is the Chiefs. They're at home. They're playing the Bengals. The Chiefs are -7. On the money line, they're -344. The over-under on here is 54.5. And if you like the Bengals on the money line, it's +275. Jules, I said before, you know what I like is I like the Chiefs money line to win, but I do like the Bengals getting 7 points.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I do like the 7 points. I do not see the Bengals getting blown out. I don't care what you say, what you do. I do like that a lot, actually. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking somewhere in the neighborhood of this. This is going to be what I want to put for that game. So I'm going to assume that we're sort of all back to like 33.50 each, or give or take maybe 3,400 each, right? Like, I don't know, somewhere. My math is a little off in regards to that, but as far as what we could throw in, right? We're still divvying up, right? I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, I'm up at 4,000. Jonathan, we're not going to do all that. So we cut it up 3 ways again, kind of at 33. I would say I would probably put, I'm gonna go out a little bit on this one. I think. Well, I'm gonna say give me 700 on the Bengals with the points, and give me another 2 on the Bengals money line.
2 on the Bengals. Wow. Okay. All right. You are in for that. I like the Chiefs money line, so I'm gonna bet the Chiefs. I'm gonna bet 1,000 straight up on them. Actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna go fucking 2,000
on the Chiefs money line.
On the Chiefs money line, yeah. It only
So,
pays.
so for like some of the listeners that might be out there, they don't know what in the world that even means. Obviously, we know that. Oh my God, it's to win, right? But the difference is, and the main difference there is that you could put 100 units on Cincinnati, and that'll pay you what? You said 300 if you win. Right, because it's 278 or 300 or whatever it is. I forgot what you mentioned.
So on 275, like you betting 200, you'll get paid out 750.
Correct. Now you putting 1,000 on the Chiefs,
2,000. So I'm only getting 20. I'm only getting paid 581, but I like the Chiefs.
Yeah. So it's just so people know that that's sort of what that difference is. There is because that they're such a heavily favored that they're automatically going to get a lower payout because of that favor that you're paying for that. So it's not like, because you're sitting there, you're like, wow, you like the points, but you like this, but you think the Chiefs are going to win. Yeah, but it's at a cost. So I just wanted to make that clear for some of the listeners that may not know how betting works. So yes, all right. So you're going to take them on the money line. All right, John, you want any action on that game one?
What do you have as the over under?
54.5.
I say put 700 on the under.
On the under. Ooh,
700. On the under. That's a shocker. I would have went over.
That is like, I was gonna go in there, but you know what? I actually, there is a little feeling there that it could go under, right? Kansas City's just been flying high past 2 games. They're emotionally coming down a little bit down. Yes, Cincinnati can put up some points, but they also have a pretty good defense. That's been sort of sneaky good. They held the Raiders, I think, what was it? I forget the score exactly, but I think if you average between the Raiders and Tennessee, I think they were only giving up like 15 points a game in the playoffs so far. Now, look, you know what I mean? Like, so there's a little thing to kind of respect there with Cincinnati's D, which was sort of up and down all season long. So I don't know, maybe the defense is just coming together at the right time.
That could
I mean, I don't think it's going to be like a 18-15 game or anything like that. I can just see like, 27-24, 30-24 or something like that, where it's just under. I don't know. You don't really see in championship games huge score. Like it's not like you always week 1 of the playoffs, wild card weekends. There's always a couple of boring games that are blowouts, and then maybe not blowouts, but they're not really super close games. The best weekend of the NFL season is always the divisional round because you have 4 almost always tightly contested games, and then championship games usually aren't as like there's not a lot of fireworks per se that you usually see in them where you see like 40, 42, 37 scores like we did over the weekend or whatever it was. It's not a common thing to see championship weekends. Because listen, defense, like I say, defenses win championships. So if your defense is still kind of hanging around all the way into this round, you're going to be at least decent enough where you're not going to be giving up 35 points in all likelihood.
Unless you're the Giants in 2000,
They made up for it.
Right.
They've been up for it. We got 2 rings since 2000. How many How many other NFL
Oh,
franchises?
no. Giants in 2000 in the NFC Championship game against the Vikings. What was that final? Like 42-0?
Yeah.
I mean, when they beat the Vikings that time, we were 1 point underdog at home. Just saying. So, there are times they put up points, all right?
Yeah. Oh, well,
But
yeah.
we did shut
yeah.
out Minnesota, so that was a hell of a defensive fucking stand, too.
All right. The last game, the last game too. The Rams are playing the 49ers, which has been hot. And the 49ers, I think, have won their last 6 games against the Rams, which is just unbelievable.
No, really?
Yeah. Since like 2019,
Wow.
they're like 6-0. So the Rams are actually favored. They're favored by 3.5. On the money line, they're minus 185. The over-under is 47. And if you like the 49ers, the money line is plus 155. I actually love
Wow, that's pretty
Rams.
low, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, I love the Rams this week, man.
I mean, for the most part, I think everybody's going to be sending in on the Rams. I mean, they've been
Yeah.
looking like the team to beat. I mean, it's just crazy that I can't remember a time where a team had to beat 2 division rivalries to get to this point in the season. Well, to get to the Super Bowl. If they had, they beat the 49ers, they've had to beat Arizona, then they go beat the defending champs, and then they go and they're going to have to now play the 49ers, which is another division rivalry, which to me is always a little scary, right? Because they know each other, they play well. And honest to God, I'm actually looking that up currently because I'm like, wait, did they really beat the Rams twice this year? And they did. Whoa, baby. No. What's the spread again?
3.5.
I hate that. And we can't buy points because that's what I would do. But now realizing that I did not realize that this is like they got to get over the hump here with the 49ers. I think they're out of gas. I think they're going to get outmatched. I love the Rams. You could put me down. Let's see. What do I have? I did 7-2 so far, right? So that's at 9. You know what? Put me down for 9 on the Rams, minus 3.5.
Minus 3.5 for $900.
Points. These are points, right?
Yep, these are points. Yeah, 900 pays 1726. Okay, John, who do you like in this game? Do you want to bet any action on this game? I should say.
I mean, no, because I fucking don't like Odell, and now he's going to be going to the Super Bowl. But
losing the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he's losing the Super Bowl. True. That's I think the Chiefs definitely probably the favorites to win the Super Bowl at this point. Yeah, man. It's always interesting when you get division rivals meeting up in playoff games, and now this will be their second playoff game that they have to play against a division rival. I feel like San Francisco's luck is going to kind of run out here. I think the Rams they're going to win, and they're going to probably win by more than 3.5. And it's going to suck. So put 7 for me on there.
There you go.
So that's 16.
Fuck.
All right, where are you at, Mike, with this? Yo, dude, Mike, you know. 3 times in the same season against a division rival is
Never
fucking
happens.
hard, man.
Yeah,
It is
really
so hard. Shit, one of the reasons why Eli was able to beat Dallas
Yeah,
with
baby.
15 Pro Bowlers, right? I'm exaggerating, but I still think they had about 12.
No, it's 13.
It was 13. There you go. All right.
Yeah, more than fucking half their starters.
Yeah. Dude, 3 times against that same team. That shit is hard. Yo, the Rams are on a run. McVay is fucking tasting it in his mouth right now, knowing that he doesn't have to go to Green Bay to get there. I'm sorry. I'm not. You do what you want to do, bro. I know you've been riding high on San Fran, dude. You fucking took them to win the Super Bowl fucking like 3 weeks ago for like $1,000.
I've watched enough of Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo going against his Rams defense this time in the playoffs. It's gonna be really like too tough for him. He just makes mistakes that, like, Dallas should have been a blowout. He let them back in the game. This past weekend, like, he didn't do anything to win that game. It was all defensive special teams. And now where they're gonna have it's like in a dome, it's gonna be fucking nice weather. There's not gonna be anything going on. I think the Rams just it's their season. Remember, I predicted on this podcast before the season started that the Rams would be in the NFC Championship game, granted against the Giants.
Hey, you said the Giants. That's
I was wrong on that, but I do like them going to the Super Bowl. They're loaded. I'm rooting for Matthew Stafford, and I kind of want to see Odell in Super Bowl week because it'll just be fascinating, man. It'd be entertaining. So
You think
I
he
gotta
takes
go
Lil
with the
Wayne to
Rams,
the
and I'm
red
gonna
carpet?
go 1,000 on the Rams. Money line.
Whoa! So let me get this straight. It was
Two?
9. We got like 2,600 on them currently.
Yeah, we got a lot of money on them, man. Yeah.
You know what? You know what? Look, like I'm just feeling it. It's one of those like things. You know what? Put an extra. What did I put on them? 9.
Yep.
Hey, where'd you go?
1,000 on the money line.
All right. So, you went money line. Oh, you did that money line fucking bet again, man. You know, just because you did that shit, make my 900 1,000 on the fucking on the points that they're gonna cover that shit, so I can at least get us 1,000 and not fucking what's 1,000 gonna pay us out like 400?
No, something like that. No, I mean it's not that bad. It's like kind of like double your money.
Yeah, you can put Jules down for 1,000 on that one, right? Yeah,
All
you're
right,
right.
got
Look again, and the main reason why I'm liking that, besides the momentum that the Rams have built, they beat a team that up until about the last month of the season, you had Kyle, or maybe this last 6 weeks, you had Kyle Murray as an MVP. They were saying how much that team had gotten turned around. They went and they beat them. They beat them handily. They were beating the piss out of the Bucs, and if it had not been for Brady, that shit wouldn't even been close. Don't forget Akers fumbles, like you mentioned earlier, right before halftime, or else they were up 4 scores going into halftime. Dude, they're on a mission. And that kind of ties back to what you were saying earlier in the pod, where you were saying that, the Bills and the Chiefs should have been in the Super Bowl, and almost as if the AFC teams are so much better. Don't sleep on this Rams team, man.
Yeah.
Like, they come into play. You know what? Look, I don't give a shit if they play the Bengals. Obviously, everybody's going to want them to play Kansas City, but that's going to be one hell of a fucking game. Look, Von Miller, he looks fired up, man. He knows he's got a chance. He's a game away from getting to that Super Bowl. You saw the way he was playing against Brady. Dude, he's fucking pumped up. Cooper Kupp is by far having he's having the best season of a receiver in as long as I can fucking remember. All right. Even you can go back to that Mike Thomas like 3 years ago, but I think this season might even be better. They're clicking, man. If Akers can hang on to that football and Stafford, this is Stafford's shot, man. He don't get this shit. It's done. And we're talking about Jimmy fucking Garoppolo, who's 4-1 in the postseason. I get
Did
it.
you make fun of an Italian name on our podcast, bro?
Whatever. I think he's Greek. Who knows?
Oh yeah, I thought he was Italian.
But you know what I'm saying, man. I'm just saying, like, I'm not buying into Jimmy G, bro. I almost, if I know there's one game left, and it's like I want to be able to like participate in the Super Bowl, but I almost want to go all in on the Rams. I'm tempted, dude. I might give you a text during the week and just be like, "Fuck it, fire it in."
No, he's Italian, bro.
I know. I'm joking.
Anthony
I think his mother's Greek.
Garoppolo.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh shit.
But yeah, all right. So we're in, dude. So what do we have at risk out of
wow.
our, leading 10,000 points? See, just to throw that out there, this whole point system thing, shit gets a lot different than just picking games.
It's tough. Yeah, we could actually double our amount right now. We could actually win over.
You're
10,
like pretty much put this away, huh?
We could put it, depend on what else everybody else does. Like, it's on, man. It's on right now. So we'll see.
Well, they all know. Listen, they know that we're all in on the Rams. So the only way they're gonna catch us is if they go 49ers. And the only way we're gonna lose is if they lose the 49ers. So there you go for the other like 9, guys participating in this event here. If you want to catch us, you got to put your money on Jimmy G. Good luck. Oh man,
that's it.
That's it, man. Look, it should be fun. We're gonna get to meet our GM tomorrow and Joe Shane, and hopefully, maybe, possibly, we'll know who our head coach is later in this week. And if it is, you'll definitely hear one of us jump on, and maybe all 3 of us, and give our opinion on who we think, and what we think and feel about the head coach. But for now, I'm gonna hold out. That just for some odd reason, I don't care who it is, they just somehow say, "Oh, we're gonna interview this last person on Monday," which is just all bullshit. And Wednesday morning, they come out and they announce, "Oh, the Giants have announced their head coach," and we shit on Washington's name day.
You think that? What do you think would be a bigger name? I mean, a bigger deal, the name or the head coach of the Giants?
Because of the Giants, dude. Like, we totally just shit on that, dude. Think about it. They had literally put it out there on social media, on all. Who gives a fuck about somebody's name? Oh, that's the new team name. Cool. You're gonna hear that name 1,000 times over. For this thing, you have to have a press. We're gonna have a press conference. Oh, here comes the Virginia Defenders. Yay, defenders! Like,
That's
yo,
whack.
you guys all follow baseball,
Yeah, I
right?
just hope the name is whack as fuck.
I'm just saying, but like you guys both follow baseball, right? When the Cleveland
Of course.
Indians announced their new name, who the fuck had?
Nobody gives a
Yeah, that
fuck.
shit was announced. I think it like went one time across the ticker on the
That's
bottom.
baseball. That's
What is it?
anytime-
Right? What is it? I forgot already.
Listen, when Buck Showalter signed with the Mets, you heard about that shit all day. That was on ESPN all over the fucking place, right? Oh, Buck Showalter's coming back to New York. It was everywhere. You kept hearing about it. Indians changed their
That's a good
name.
hire
You
for
heard
Mets.
about that shit for 2 seconds. Oh, the Indians have a new name. It's gonna be the same shit. Washington finally, after 2 seasons, they figured it out. They put their brains together. They figured out how to make a team name for a football team. Okay, but the Giants have now signed who? Dude, that's gonna be breaking news. New York media crushes down south. All right, that's it. It's gonna be all over the place. It would be the perfect way to shit on it. Mara, Tish, if you guys are listening, hey Shane, just hear me out, guy. I'll see you tomorrow during your interview, your press conference rather. Yo, just hold out till like next Wednesday, dude. That shit'll be dope. You do your opening press conference on Wednesday, and you announce your head coach the following week. Let's go.
Be nice. That would be nice.
Anyway, guys, with that, man, we are wrapping up this week. You got our picks. You got our analogies. You got our hopefuls for candidates for the head coaching job. Follow us on Twitter, BBOMYG, all right? You know where to follow us individually, but fuck that, follow the Twitter handle. Hit us up on YouTube. And like us where you see every podcast. Go on the website. It's on all of our Twitter handles, so you can find us there. So you go to Jules NYC1, MFT Mike Trainer, John Slab Parade, all right? You NYG Slab
Bro,
Parade.
if you're gonna say it right. Jesus Christ.
NYG, they know it by now, man. They've been listening. They know what's up. All right, go on. You
On
find
the
this-
website.
the website. Go on there. Get some merchandise. Get it ready because we want to come out and represent. We're gonna be proud when we see our man Shane tomorrow at 11:45. We're gonna love who our next head coach is. Good things are gonna be to come, and hopefully they announce that and we shit on Washington's name day. With that, we're gonna leave you. I'm down in Florida. These guys are leaving you from New York and New Jersey. But we'll see you guys same next week, and you might even hear from us during the week when they make some announcements. We'll see you guys later.
Peace.